Hi guys and welcome back. Today I am currently fighting my way through this painting. It has been a beast and it still is. So I thought I would sit down and talk a bit about it in the moment while I'm going through it rather than a big recap at the end when I have seen the light and I've gotten to the end and the painting was a success or I started over and it became a success. So yeah, let's talk about it while I am fighting through it so that we can talk a bit about some of the struggles that can come with learning a new skill, which is what I'm trying to do right now. So just some context, I have been really wanting to add different effects to my traditional paintings lately. I've been feeling very limited in what I have been able to accomplish with watercolors, with the skill set that I have, and I want to expand that. I do really want to get back into oils. I tried, it's just not quite in the cards right now for me. It just wasn't really settling with my life circumstances and what other projects I'm working on. It's a whole matter. So I thought I'd reel it back in and try to achieve some of the things that I wish I could in my watercolor paintings with acrylic gouache. So that was my first jump off point, is that I wanted to have mediums that I could use with my watercolors that would give me a very opaque effect and a very saturated and dark look. So that's what brought me to this. I am not new to using my acrylic gouache. I've been using it for small details and for line work for a couple of years now. I love it for that. So it was a natural progression to bring it in to try to have it serve a more major role in my pieces. And a small side note, acrylic gouache, it's basically just acrylic paint, but it's matte. So it matches very well with the finish of watercolors. That's why I'm using that type of paint particularly, is because it's waterproof once it's dry, so I can paint on top of it and near it, but it blends in again with the watercolors, so it fits really well. It's a nice perfect marriage between the two mediums. So if you're interested in incorporating some more opaque elements, this is a good paint to bring into your watercolors. So I have been using it for a while, so I know the basics. I know how to get the consistency that I'm looking for in general for at least the specific uses that I have, like the line work. So there's a certain amount of water that you can mix into the paint before it breaks down. There's also a certain amount that you can mix in where it's just like the perfect mixture viscosity, I guess you could say, for it to spread beautifully on the paper. So I have that basics relatively down comfortably. What I do not have is a plan of attack on how to actually utilize it in a very broad way. So if I'm painting a very large area, like I am currently in this painting in the background, at least currently for me in my real life experience, I don't really know how to handle it to get some of the effects that I have in my mind. So I'm able to get certain effects when I do my digital color comps, and it drives me nuts that it's so easy for me to create these certain looks that I love, and then when it comes time to create the actual thing, I can never get it. And some of those things are these like hazy, I don't even know how to describe it. Bokeh, is that how you say it? Where it almost has like these pops of light in the background and it's kind of mottled. And that's one of the techniques that I can achieve digitally. Haven't found a way to do it traditionally yet. So that was part of the inspiration for this, is that I wanted it to have that like hazy, unfocused, mottled light look for the background, and then I wanted to get really dark around the edges and then almost black at the bottom. Now I jumped into this without really having a very clear plan, and that's just often the way that I do work. I'm someone that likes to be very in control of my pieces, but I also don't know. I like practicing and working on the real thing. When I do smaller side tests, I find it helpful to an extent. So one of my recent pieces, actually it was the November Patreon piece, I wanted this really soft, hazy tree that blended into the background. So I was practicing this wet on wet technique, and I tried it several times. I was really happy with it. And then I turned around and did the big one, and it was a complete failure, and I actually scrapped it and restarted it. So that's only one of many examples that I have where I have practiced a technique in a quick, small scale, but then when I scale it up to my final version, it does not function the same way. There's, I think, a lot of components to it. I think one is that it's more complicated once I make it larger because I have more elements in the painting. I have a figure in the middle of that soft, blendy environment rather than just the environment, for example. Or I think a lot of it is also that because it's bigger, I need to be using different brushes that are bigger. But I also don't have the same level of comfortability with the larger ones. I don't naturally grab those, so I'll often gravitate towards a smaller brush, and then I end up using the wrong brush to get that same scale. Anyways, that's a bit of a tangent. The point is that I do want to do small scale practices for new techniques, but I also know that I'm not going to learn it until I actually put it into practice, for me personally. And I feel like it's just kind of, that's my personality in life too. I tend to just want to get to the real root of the problem, the thing. I want to tackle it. Oh, and really quickly, hopefully not to spoil too much, but I did end up finishing this painting and I'm super happy with it. So Cold Bones is available at my shop as a print, which it's been a really long time since I've added a print, so I'm excited about that. But she's a print. She's the original painting. Looking for a new home. There's a link down in the description that'll take you over to my shop. So that is why I dove right in with this. I think I'm maybe on the second paint attempt on the background right now, and I'm thinking whether I should restart it or not. I am not someone who can walk away from a piece and let it just fade from my mind, and then I can come back to it and look at it fresh eyes and make a better informed decision. I do it, I try. It's always a struggle because I just keep obsessing about the piece if it's not working. If it's working, I can walk away from it. If it's not working, it absolutely drives me crazy. I feel haunted by it. It's just in my mind no matter where I go. So I'm at a point right now where I want to decide, will I continue or will I start over? I need to do that so that I can give myself some rest. So yeah, the progression of this background, I think, is really what got me. Is when I work on a piece and it kind of goes off the rails, I struggle with it and it doesn't work out well. And even if I fix that problem so that I wouldn't even have thought that I had a problem with it, it looks good. It looks the way that, maybe not the way that I had planned, but it looks intentional and I'm happy with it. Even then, that emotional ride of going through creating a piece and then fighting that element and it not working out, it wears away my, how do I say this? It makes me feel like the piece overall, the quality has been marred. It's no longer as pristine as it was. So it takes some actual mental work to stay present and focused in each new element as I'm working on the piece, to make sure that I am giving it my all in every way. It's very easy for me to start to slip downward after I have a fight like that, because then I feel like, well, I did this area and it just wasn't perfect. It didn't end up exact. So do I really need to pay attention to painting inside the lines when I'm painting the hair? It's just something that I have seen as a weakness in myself, and I have been really trying to be just self-aware. The more that I think about it, the more I can course correct. Anyways, this is a lot of sidewinding and tangents. The point is, I have repainted the background multiple times, and it's a new technique, but I'm seeing now that I combined a new technique with a new design element, I guess you could say. And combining the two means that I'm just even more on unfamiliar ground, which makes it harder to accomplish that. So next time I think I need to try to understand the design element that I'm doing better. So for this, I tried to like wing it as I was working on it. I tried to just like feel my way through that hazy blended light effect in the background. And I'm not that kind of painter. I'm someone who needs to like know where the things are going to be. So yeah, so I think if I were to restart this, I would give myself basically a paint by numbers plan for where every color would go for the background. I would draw out those shapes. Maybe I should show my color comp really quick so you can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, I think that I should draw out those shapes so that I can go in and say, okay, this is this paint that I have already mixed and I know it's the color that I want. And then I can build it up and get to the final result. Yes, that would have worked much better. But yeah, we'll see. I think I do actually need to step away from it for a minute, make a plan, and then come back. Okay, I am back at the end of the painting. So I've finished it and I am so happy with it. I'm so happy that I stuck with it, which I'll be honest, I usually am. Usually when I am debating whether I need to restart it or not, I'm happy that I stick to it because there's something unique about every single painting. And yeah, that first attack on the concept and the subject matter, it often holds something a little bit special to me. And being able to bring a painting to completion in a way that I'm happy with, it feels so incredibly satisfying. It makes me feel victorious, like I conquered something. So anyways, yes, I stuck to it. I decided to repaint the background again. I think it was 3 or 4 times at least. So I ended up walking away from the original color comp that I had, and then I just let myself work a little bit more simply. I created a bit of a halo around her hair that was the lightest blue color, and then more of a royal blue that was a larger shape around her head, and then it delineated into this really dark navy blue, and then that went to an almost black at the bottom. So basically I just simplified the effect and I made it a bit more graphic, I guess you could say. Like, maybe graphic's not the right word. Geometric, simplified. I'm happy with it. I'm really happy with it. I wouldn't have sketched this out. So that's kind of fun too, is to see that it ended up in a completely different place than I would have originally thought and planned. And that means that it's a little bit more new and fresh from what I normally create. So anyways, I fixed it. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the outcome. And yeah, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about using acrylic gouache, but I also learned a lot about my own process when it comes to learning new skills. Okay, let's recap really quickly some of the things that I learned about the way that I learn new skills and also some of the mistakes. So the first thing, I realized that at a certain point, I'd rather take a leap and work on the final piece, even if I really fight and struggle through it. And even if I have to scrap it and start over, I would rather feel like I'm making real tangible progress. And in the future, I think I need to separate out the new things that I'm doing. So instead of doing like a new texture with a new medium, at least a new medium used a different way like I am today, I should try to do one of those things at a time. And if I'm doing multiple, the more I can understand it, the better. I know that's a bit contradictory from my last one, but like if I'm doing a new technique, if I can draw out the boundaries of like the texture that I'm doing, and then I know, okay, I am going to paint here and here and here and here, and this will give me the effect that I'm looking for, the less that I have to ad-lib as I'm working on it, the more likely I will keep from spiraling with stress and with frantically trying to fix the mistakes. I'll be able to stay hopefully in control of the process and the learning as I go along with it. And ultimately, sometimes I just need to start over. And sometimes I don't. And I think most of the time I don't. Most of the time the piece can be salvaged in some way. I can be happy with where it ends up. I think that part of that too is how far into the piece am I? If I'm right at the beginning, maybe I'll start over. If I'm close to the end, I might as well push through it and find out where it goes. And it's okay if it's not the most perfect one. I will say though, I am actually so happy with this piece. I wouldn't have guessed that I repainted the background so many times. Luckily, that's one of the benefits of acrylic gouache, is that it is very opaque and it does layer very nicely. So yeah, I love how it turned out. I love the copper foil that I used on her ribs. That was really fun to bring out. I haven't used it in a while. So yeah, this was a success, but it was a very windy path to the final. And that was really fun. It definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone. So I like that a lot. And this painting, Cold Bones, is available at my shop, which I'm very excited about because it's been a really long time since I've added a print over there. So she's a print. She's available in an 11 by 14 and an 8 by 10 size. And she is also available as the original painting, of course. And the original painting, I tried so hard, but the pictures just don't do this copper foiling justice. It just looks so glorious in person. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to send her off to a new home soon. There is a link down in the description that'll take you over to my shop. And that's it for today. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.